Hello. I want to talk about something fairly important today because it's becoming increasingly popular as a way of motivating people to do things. And that has quite a lot to do with what I call the psychology of hate. Just so you know, this is what I'll be quoting from a lot of the time. The psychology of hate, and it appears in Psychology Today. Just as a bit of an introduction, I'll read the first paragraph. And she says, this lady writing it is called Allison Abrams. Allison says, recently several members of a group calling itself Respect the Flag were sentenced to prison for terrorising guests at the birthday party of an 8-year-old African-American girl in Georgia. Pointing a shotgun, they yelled racial slurs and death threats at guests, including children. A recent study there has found that 917 organised hate groups exist in the US. The study, based on data collected by the Southern Poverty Law Center and presented in their annual census of hate groups, looked at the presence of hate groups on Twitter. The SPLC found that the number of likes and comments on hate groups on those accounts grew by 900% in 2 years. 900% in 2 years. So she asks, why do we hate? The reasons are complex, but following are some of the factors that may play a role in helping us understand hate and hopefully work towards change. Just let that sink in. These racists, these Respect the Flag party or whatever, turn up at an 8-year-old girl's birthday party and start shouting race hate slurs and slogans. What is humanity coming to? But what motivated that level of hate? On a psychological level, what motivated it? Well, she gives several main categories, of which I have read. But the first one is fear of the other. You've heard it loads of times, I'm sure. It's called otherizing. Hitler was a great one for it, otherizing. The communists, the Jews, the international communist conspiracy, the World Council of Zion or whatever. The Jews were the otherized. Yeah. Also, of course, don't forget that Hitler otherized the sick and the disabled. Oh yeah, sorry, that includes us under the Tories, aren't we? We're otherized, aren't we? Yeah. We're otherized. We're not good, fit, healthy, contributing workers. No, we're not. We're otherized. We're put on the outside of the group so that the people in the group that all identify together can look at us and say, they're not really sick. He's not really sick. There's nothing wrong with him. Look at him pointing his finger in this video. Otherizing. So, what else is involved in this? Well, the other thing she states is fear of ourselves. This is a thing that we call, kind of related to the other points that she makes, projection. We see something in ourselves that makes us a bit uneasy. We're a bit afraid. I don't know, perhaps we are perhaps a little physically weak. Yeah? And we've been brought up in a family where to be physically weak wasn't really a good idea. Yeah? You know, and you thought, oh, if I'm weak and I show it to my family and my friends and whatever, I'll be punished, I'll be laughed at, I'll be frowned upon because I'm weak physically weak, or maybe even emotionally weak, or mentally weak. I don't know, but maybe we fear this in ourselves a little bit. Yeah. So it seems that in the psychology of hate, what we do is what Freud called projection. We project that fear and hate out onto others. See how well that must work, yeah? You know, you probably always, I don't know, maybe you just didn't like the fact that you always walk with a bit of a limp or something. So now you hate all people who walk with limps, and you just say, you know, they're faking it. Like Joseph Goebbels, by the way, the Ministry of Propaganda for the Minister of Propaganda for the Nazis. He had a club foot. Yeah, he had a club foot, but he did sort of contribute to the gassing of disabled people and taught hate. Another one I like is lack of self-compassion. Now that's an interesting thought, isn't it? We choose not to be kind to ourselves. We mess up, we blame ourselves, we get something wrong, we don't hit a target, we miss a deadline, we're late for an appointment, we don't make the amount of money that we had planned to make, and therefore we can't pay the bills that we should be paying. We blame ourselves. We go, I'm not good enough, am I? I'm useless, can't do it, I'm hopeless. Don't know why anybody wants to be with me. I'm a really horrible so-and-so, aren't I? We get hurt by somebody else. And rather than sort of thinking, hang on, that was an exterior thing that happened to us, and we are ourselves, they are exterior to us, but they hurt us. Our self is not strong enough to survive that. So, again, not being compassionate and understanding of ourselves, we see somebody else who is hurt, somebody else who falls down, and we go, well, just get up, pull yourself up, come on, be a man, come on, get yourself together, do this, get out to work, go on, sod off, get back to work, yeah? There's nothing wrong with you, because maybe we don't show compassion for ourselves. Another one that she mentions is it fills a void. Hate is absolutely brilliant at doing that. I don't know, it fills an emotional void. If you like, it fills, I don't know, I'm going to go a bit spiritual. I'm going to say it fills a spiritual void. There's this big emptiness when you look into yourself. Yeah, there's this big void. It's like you're staring down into a massive well that goes on forever and ever, and you're calling down there, and your voice is only just vaguely echoing back. And you think, oh, what am I? What's this life? What am I feeling? What have I got to feel? What can I feel? What can I look forward to feeling? What sensations can I have? And somebody comes along and says, see that group of people over there? Yeah, you know, that gang or whatever standing on that street corner. See that homeless person over there? Yeah? Do you see that homeless person? Do you know that they're not really homeless? Did you know that? They collect this money all day, and they drive off in a luxury car back to their apartment in the city. Now, don't you hate that? They walk up to the homeless person and think, I hate you, and all that big void, it's all been filled up again, and you feel great because the hate has filled the void. And I think one of the final ones that she comes to is the societal and cultural factors behind why we learn to hate. Hate is learned. Hate, otherizing other groups is learned. It's all through, oh, my group is better than yours, or my race is better than yours. And my race don't associate with your race. My race and yours don't mix. My nation and yours don't mix, because we're up here and you're down there. Yeah? We're civilized and do things in a civilized and a nice way, and your culture and your identity is savage, uncivilized. It's not that's why we hate you, because you're trying to uncivilize the world. How often, in fact, have you heard that argument directed against Muslims? How often have you heard that? Well, they're a savage culture. They're not like Christians and white people and whatever like us. No, they're a savage culture. That they obliterate people. They murder people. They whip people for punishments in Islam. So you've got to hate them. And also they marry child brides at 3 years old. They do. So you must hate them. I could go on about the psychology of hate for a long time. I'll see if I can put the links to this somewhere in the description if you want to read it yourself. I'll see if I can put it in. But I thought maybe it might be worth you listening to, because we've got to tackle hate. And maybe the first thing we've got to do is to tackle hate within ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, that means getting to like ourselves a bit, giving ourselves a chance, giving ourselves a break, building relationships with people, building trust, not building distrust. Thanks.